Good morning. Thank you for coming. It's a beautiful day out today. I appreciate you being here. I want to call to order this HOA2 board meeting for September 27th, 2023. If you would, like me, if you can think about turning off your cell phones if you have them, that'd probably be helpful. If we all stand and we'll do a Pledge of Allegiance.
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you very much. We'll get this meeting underway. The first thing that is on the agenda, hopefully you all have seen the agenda. We had to do a bit of an update on it Monday. We added a presentation that we had not been able to include on Friday. So the agenda that you have seen, if you have, by email blast, should be pretty complete. So we'll first motion will be to approve the minutes of the August 30th, 2023 board meeting. So do I have a motion to do that?
I move.
Sean, second?
Second.
Campbell, second. So we have a motion with two folks wanting to get this done. So let's do that. All in favor of approving the August 30th, 2023 board meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right. The next thing on our agenda this morning is an update from our general manager, Walter Yazzie. So, Walter, I'll let you take the stage at this point.
Okay, Dan. Thank you very much. I'd like to update you on a lot of the stuff that the staff is doing, but before I do that, I'd just like to remind you, as you can see behind me, that myself and the staff appreciate you. We appreciate you coming and supporting all the events we put on. We appreciate you using the facilities that we prepare every morning for you to use. And so don't forget that as you come through and use your facilities, that, you know, the staff works hard, and we do appreciate the fact that you're having using the facilities as planned. So let me run through a bunch of items that staff is up to. So let's start with golf. Okay, so Paul says the Mountain View project is pushing on, and we're getting close to finishing up the back 9 holes. And in addition to that, golf says Mountain View greens have been overseeded and are in the grow-in phase. So some of the big news for golf, of course, is going to be October 8th and October 9th. October 8th, you'll probably see information coming out about a ribbon cutting and maybe an open house type thing on the back 9 of the Mountain View golf course. So look for that on October 8th. Then the next day, October 9th, the back 9 opens up for play. In addition, on October 9th, the preserve will then be closed for overseed, and the preserve golf course will be closed from October 9th through October 30th. Our HR department has been busy. I think in the past you've heard us that we've been struggling to hire people, and it's been a struggle. Currently, that looks like we're getting more luck now. We've got more people applying for the jobs that are open, so we're pushing our directors to get out there and hire these folks that are now applying. Part of that might be because our Paylocity system now actually advertises on ZipRecruiter. So I can't say it's all because of that, but just kind of changing up where we advertise open positions. Okay, on to food and beverage. So live music returns every Wednesday at the Preserve restaurant. So if you like music, live music, go to the Preserve on Wednesdays. The Mountain View Bar and Grill menu is going to be renewed, and that'll be released in November. So in November, you'll see some new items on the Mountain View Bar and Grill menu. One thing I forgot to mention is there is what we're calling the Links. And again, on October 9th, October 8th, and October 9th at the Mountain View Golf Course, when that opens up, there's going to be a hot dog stand in the golf shop there. So we're calling that the Links, and that's going to open up where you can come grab a hot dog and a bag of chips and a beer. And again, it's a grab and go, so no one's going to serve you. You just grab it, go up to the counter, pay for it, and enjoy your hot dog. So marketing. Marketing has really been involved with a lot of things lately, with all the golf course renovation, the new logos. They've also been involved with launching the new website with our new North Star software. So the new North Star software launch has gone quite well. There are always small glitches here and there, but we're working through those. Really, there's a couple more steps with this North Star software. We've got the backbone, all the finances, and all of those accounting and membership modules set up. Those are running. The web page or the website has been released, and that's running. So there's two more things that really we got to watch here. The first is going to be at the end of this month, and that's when the finances close out. So the finance department now has to use North Star to close out the month's finances. So that's the next big test to make sure that everything lines up and Terry and team can get the numbers out a little bit quicker. So we're hoping with this North Star that we're going to be quicker getting the final numbers out for the month. And then the last thing is launching the app that goes along with this software, and that we plan to do later in October. So again, marketing will put out information and little instructions on how to use the app before we actually launch it. So that'll happen later in October. If you come to the food and beverage and you get a receipt, at the bottom of your receipt in the food and beverage in the restaurants, there's a little QR code, and that QR code takes you to a comment page where you can leave your comments. So just a quick overview of some of these, or just some stats on these comments that we're tracking. The receipts track that we're getting 42% positive comments. We've got 25% of these comments are negative. This is, I believe, for the month of August, and 33 are neutral. So we're tracking these comments. Again, we launched the Brook, the new breakfast and lunch service. So we're tracking to see how well that's received, and food and beverage will then adjust according to what we're receiving in terms of comments. Patrol is always busy 24/7. They're out there on the roads. Currently, they're looking for a couple more part-time patrollers to fill their staff. They are focusing a little bit more on Sandcrest. This is kind of a bouncing focus, because once you focus on Sandcrest, then someone on Desert Bluff's going to say, how come you're not up here? And then someone on Catalina Hills is going to say, well, how come you're not up here? But right now they're focusing on Sandcrest. They're back down to Sandcrest. So don't speed on Sandcrest. We're tracking you. So another thing that Patrol puts on are these senior safety seminars, and those went over well last year, so they're starting them back up on October 5th. October 5th will be the subject will be from the Golder Ranch Fire District. Will be presenting on home first aid and fire safety. And of course, Patrol's always supporting the other events like the health fair and the I Don't Want It sale. So talking about the I Don't Want It sale, slots are still available, $35 for a slot, and that comes along with a 6-foot table. And the I Don't Want It sale is on October 21st. So come and get a table, get rid of that stuff that's been sitting in your garage for a while you want to get rid of. So Thursday, September 28th, which is tomorrow, here is Good Vibrations. So tickets are $30 per person, so if you want to come tomorrow night, to a tribute to the Beach Boys. Get your tickets today. The next festival will be the Fall Festival, and that's going to be Thursday, November 9th, and that's going to be from 4 to 7 p.m. So look for that. Get for that information if you're interested. Another thing that you'll notice, if you're a club registration is going on. Now, if you walk through the clubhouse, Mountain View Clubhouse, almost every room has forms sitting on a table. So it's really important, if you're a club, make sure that your club president or whoever's in charge gets those forms and the packet and fills them out. Clubs must register to use rooms. The next registration is on October 16th, 8 a.m. through 12 p.m. in the Cactus Room. Again, the forms and the packets are already set out in all the different rooms in the Mountain View Clubhouse. IT really has been working on the North Star implementation, and we've kind of talked about North Star already. It's going well, and the other few steps we have to complete through the mid-October. Fitness, TRX classes are going strong, and those are held in the Rincon room. They have a TRX Fusion class. Let's see here. Let me see. Okay, so last year, the fitness center hosted what they call AquaCon, and this is something Jeanette has brought to Saddlebrook. Now, AquaCon is actually a training and certification for instructors. So the pool on the 6th through the 8th of October will be blocked off here at Desert View for this event. But the way we benefit from this is our instructors, if they attend the AquaCon, get free certification. So that's one benefit. The other benefit is they get to talk with other instructors and the possibility of maybe hiring some later on when they see what great facilities we have here. So again, that's the 6th through the 8th of October. Desert View Pool will be hosting the AquaCon. Again, finance, always busy. They're finishing up the August financials. Those should be out shortly. They're probably done already, just probably reviewing those. And again, the next finance committee open to the public is this coming Friday, 29th. So look for that information if you're interested in coming to the finance committee meeting, where we'll be reviewing reserve projects and capital projects, and also update on our operational budget, the changes we've made since we had our first run at that. And finally, Charlie here to my left says that the front desk is getting very busy, and a lot of you have guests coming in over the holidays. Please plan ahead and make come up to the front desk early to get your guest passes. Don't wait to the last minute so that they can get those to you in a timely manner. And one more thing that Charlie is working on is she's taken on the effort to try to convert all of our forms that are, you have to handwrite into electronic format and get those out, so that's just it will be easier for you to fill out the different forms we have and get those online. So that's another effort that she's been working on. So as you can see, the staff is very busy. There's a lot going on. And again, we appreciate all your support. Back over to you, Dan.
Thank you, Walter. I'm going to apologize. I missed a step in the process, and we're going to go back and do it. I'm Dan Leniger, president of HOA2, and we're going to introduce the board. We should have done that before Walter, but we'll just go backwards here just a minute.
Mark Eckert, I'm the vice president.
Sean Kreiderman, director.
Campbell Cheney, treasurer.
Matt Cambeck, Assistant Treasurer.
Denise Lexell, Director.
Chuck Hill, secretary.
Walter Yazzie, General Manager.
Charlie Chalice, recording secretary.
Great, thank you. I'm sorry about that. I'm sorry I missed that on the agenda. One thing I did want to mention after Walter's update, the staff, and it's not on the agenda, kind of an outside the comment box here a little bit. Staff has requested that our employees be able to use our fitness centers. It would obviously come with them, with homeowners taking preference on all of those activities, but the staff believes it would be a good benefit for our employees to be able to stay fit and use the great facilities that we have here from a fitness perspective. We've not made a decision on that, but it seems pretty logical, I think, that would be a good thing to attract employees and support employees that are working for us today. I say all that. If you have a comment about that, please let me or Mark know if you have an opinion one way or the other, because we'll probably want to kind of deal with that reasonably in the short term. But I wanted to make that comment that Walter has approached the board to allow our employees to use our fitness facilities. So it's a topic, and I just wanted to put that out there for everyone to know.
Dan, I've got one thing I forgot to mention.
Good.
If I can.
Go ahead.
All right. So there was another thing on my mind as we go through the briefings today. You're going to get some financial briefings, and one of the part of the financial briefings is going to cover cost of goods sold in the restaurant, and so that's something that the staff has been working on here just the last couple months. We recognize that, especially up at the Preserve, the cost of goods sold is high. It's ranging between 48 and 50%, which is high. So that's something that the staff is focusing on. I've got Terry helping me out. I've got Alan, and I got both the chefs. I've got a standing meeting now about every month after financials come out. We sit down, we go over that. The last couple months, we've been trying to chip away at it. We've found a couple corrections in the cost of goods sold calculations. So just as you see that, I am aware of that, and we are putting a lot of effort in to lowering this cost of goods sold, and we'll see how much progress we can make.
Good. Thank you. Thanks for that update. That is a focus for not just the staff, but certainly the board as well. So we're looking forward to good results from that work. All right, Ray. Dove, come on up. We're going to have a project update report from our facilities manager, Dove. I'll let it to you.
Thank you, Dan. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah, it sounds pretty loud. So today I get to provide you with some updates on some key projects that's been happening since our last board meeting at Saddlebrook 2. Our focus is going to be on our facility reserve projects, and I plan on just updating you through details and updates for those projects. The first slide here, although you can't see the title, it's we're going to be replacing and installing air conditioning units in the Desert View Performing Arts Center and at the Preserve. This really is a part of our annual reserve project plan, and it's really going to enhance some of the cooling problems that we've been having, specifically in Desert View, in the theater, and then in the walkway. I think the original AC unit was just overwhelmed. Some key points that I wanted to point out for this project would be we anticipate the completion start date at October 3rd. Assuming everything goes well, it should take 1 to 2 days to complete. We've been pretty dedicated in making sure it does not impact any daily activities. But for safety reasons, we are going to have a crane here, and some of the exits are going to be closed. So we'll have signs to redirect you where to go in case you come during during that construction. The next project we have is the Golf Pro Shop in the Mesquite room that we've been working on. This project has involved an enormous amount of tasks, installing new shelves, for example, doing some drying work. It has been a big collaboration between a lot of departments, including the food and beverage, facility maintenance, custodial departments, and they've all been instrumental in getting this up to par here. I believe an email went out recently expressing that the grand opening is scheduled for October 8th. As a consequence for us doing a lot of this internally, not all of it, but a lot of it, we did end up capturing a lot of cost savings using our team to keep these projects up and running. Speaking of cost savings, next slide. So the flagstone and the preserve area hasn't been deep cleaned in a while. So we went out and got some quotes from a vendor and quickly decided that we can do this internally. Our equipment and our team and the custodial team has gone over it a few times to get it back to its former glory. This led to a lot of cost savings since we've already had the equipment and manpower to get this done. There's some involvement in the maintenance team as well, because after we're done cleaning this is including the patio and all the flagstone inside, then we're going to seal it and hopefully it'll look as good as I want it to. The next slide. This last project I'm going to talk about is our common area painting project involving our thoroughfare common area walls. So as you can maybe see on this map, marked in yellow is South Desert Bluff Drive. All the walls that are sort of facing Desert Bluff Drive are going to be repaired and painted. This project is starting October 9th. The expected end date is October 20th, assuming all goes well. As indicated on the map, I don't know if you can see, there's some purple lines down here in the sort of south end of it, and there's much more up top, but you can't see it on the slide. Those are some of the walls that are going to be taken care of. Well, not some, for sure those walls are going to be taken care of, and then I'm going to ask him to try to throw in a little more, because I keep giving him business. The last slide. And thank you for everything. Thank you for your patience as we go through these projects. And let me know if you guys have any questions. That's all I got. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll take questions at the end as well, if people have questions for Dov. Thank you very much for that update. Ray, real quick, is the roof done here now? Not quite. Okay, that's taken a little longer than had been anticipated. The roofs of all of the Desert View complex were updated, the last piece being the flat roof area that's right above us, and that's the last piece being completed. Should be probably in sometime in early October, hopefully. So anyway, that was a big deal project, so thank you very much for that. Walter, you're on, do you want to talk about North Star, I hope?
All right. Well, I've covered most of it in the first section. Just basically that the implementation went well. We're still working out a couple bugs. In fact, one of the North Star staff is back here. Again, I mentioned the next phase is closing out the month's financials. One of the North Star members is back on campus here, and he's going to help us to make sure that we get the numbers closed out correctly and help us if there's anything that's amiss. So kind of extra security, he's actually back here to help us out at the end of the month. And other than that, again, those will finish, that'll close out, and then we'll look forward to launching the app for you on your phones.
All right, thank you. A couple of little side comments from my perspective. The ACH payment system that we enjoy or want to enjoy, I think that's coming, is that correct?
That is coming. In fact, we had to get some paperwork done with the folks that manage that. So that paperwork is done and signed. And so now, hopefully with the North Star person on site, we can get that implemented and set up.
Okay, so that's shortly, I assume, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so by the 1st of October, the ACH ability to pay your bills should be online for you. The other thing I was going to mention, the winnings. We probably have some golfers here. I'm a golfer. I don't win much, but I am a golfer. And if you have winnings, it goes into a winnings pot, if you will, on your account, and you can spend it. I think David Castro is looking into that. I want to make sure that you have visibility to your winnings. There's been some comments from folks that they didn't, so that's something that he's working on right now with North Star, and we should have that back up and running very shortly. So if you don't see your winnings, it should be back on your account reasonably shortly, but just wanted to let you know that. All right, Matt Cambick, update.
Yes, sir. I'm going to talk for just a few minutes about where we're at with the golf course renovation on Mountain View. For the back nine, all major construction is complete. All the irrigation and drainage work, the tee decks, and the bunkers. Punch list construction activity continues on the back nine, and what that means is we still have sod areas to be replaced. We have some drains that have been crushed in the construction process to be repaired, and some of the tee decks have some work. The tee decks themselves are beautiful, but there's been a little erosion around some of them that needs to be fixed. The driving range is complete. You can now play soccer on our driving range. The artificial turf line was installation was completed yesterday. So holes 10 through 18, they're working feverishly to get the course in the kind of condition we want it so we can open it up on the 9th. From an expectations management perspective, I want to say this out loud. The irrigation laterals, the ground was tore up, irrigation was installed, the wiring was installed with the heads. It's not going to look as perfect as the rest of the Bermuda does in our fairways. And so I just need everybody who's a golfer to realize that you're going to notice a difference between the irrigation laterals and the rest of the fairway. It'll be perfect next year, but it won't be perfect when you start on the 9th. The other thing I should tell you is some of this work, for example, the turf reduction areas, they have some overseeding to do. Some of that work's going to be ongoing after we start playing. So don't be surprised if you see some people working on the golf course after we start playing on the 9th of October. As far as the front nine is concerned, the irrigation main line went up the hill to number 4. So 1, 2, and 3 are in, and 9 is in as far as the irrigation main line. The tee decks irrigation is in on 1 and 2, and 3 is a work in progress. Shaping operations, and what that means is moving all the dirt that they're going to move to take out bunkers or build new bunkers, is complete on 1 through 3. And the last couple of days, Javier has been busy reshaping the tee decks up on top of the hill at 4. So that's going to look different to us up there. The bunkers are in on number 1 and number 2 fairway. So we're making steady progress moving forward on the front nine as we continue to do our cleanup operations on the back nine as we get ready for our 9 October opening. That's all I have, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Just to reaffirm what Matt said, a couple of things. There is a practice range on the north side of the driving range. If you're not golfers, you probably don't know about it, but there's a chipping area, there's a green, and there's a sand trap there. That will not be open on October 9. That will be something that will be done at the very end when the nursery is put in. When the construction's over, we're going to have a nursery on that, in that area, to allow the superintendent to grow grass that he needs throughout the year instead of buying sod and other vegetation, which is really a great idea and a great cost savings for us long term. So that practice area will not be open. Doesn't really matter. The rest of the practice area around the pro shop building is all going to be open. Sand trap practice area, the putting greens, our driving range, they're all open. Turf reduction, as Matt mentioned, Turf reduction is a critical component of this work that we contracted. It allows us to reduce our water usage significantly long-term, and that's very important. The turf reduction areas that you may see when you come and visit look like dirt, and they are dirt. They will not be watered, they will not be irrigated, but we will be planting desert vegetation in those areas. And the contract suggested, and we have agreed to, that take place once. So once all of the areas for turf reduction have been done and put in shape, then that planting process will take place probably 2 or 3 weeks after October 9. So I just want to let you, there's going to be dirt. If you're like me, sometimes you don't hit the fair air every time, so you might be pulling your ball out of there, but eventually, within a few weeks, all of that will have desert vegetation plantings there for their growth over time, so we're not watering that area. All right, after that update, I'll let Campbell take over.
Thanks, Dan. Can everybody hear me in the back? Yep, great. Okay, Joey, the first slide. Okay, this is our cash position. As of September 21, you can see the cash is September 21 to August 31, even to December 2022 is holding up at all 3 of our major funds that we have deposits into. You can see as of September, we're about $4.9 million in our operating fund. Our reserve account is about $5.3 million, up a little bit from December. And our capital improvement account is about $1.4 million, 1.45, down a little bit from the end of the year because we've been putting the structure over the cart barn, if you will. Those are those major costs. So certainly happy with the gas position kind of holding up here. Next slide, Joey. Okay, this is our month to date for August. These are preliminary numbers, so they could move around a little bit when the final numbers do come out. But you can see August is a slow month. Seasonally, people on vacation, snowbird's not back yet. But even with that, you can see there's 3 red stripes, and the red stripes now indicate kind of outliers below budget. You can see we're off 22% on the HOA operations without the amenities. We made $157,000, almost $158,000, when we should have made $204,000. Looking at the numbers, the costs really were broad-based in the general administration area. Nothing specific that jumps out, but on services, we had a lot of repair and maintenance, which we'll get to in my next presentation about the reserve fund. This is a 25-year-old community. Things are deteriorating faster than anticipated, and we got to repair, we got to maintain. So those costs were up in August. Looking at Gulf, Mountain View, not really much to say there since it's not really open. But we do have to maintain the course, so I don't spend a lot of time researching that one. On the preserve, we did better. We only lost, or the subsidy was $24,000, if you will. Originally budgeted to be losing $86 million. People are coming to play the preserve, so that's a good thing. Will it last next year? I don't know. Probably not. People will come back and play Mountain View. FMB, as Walter said earlier, that's a problem. It's a problem monthly, it's a problem year to date. I'll get to the year to date numbers in a second, but costs are higher, revenues are down. That's not what you want to see. You want to see the exact opposite. So we're working on that. Bottom line here for the whole community, subsidy was $31,000. It was budgeted to be $24,000. So not a great month by any stretch. Not even going to sugarcoat that. Next slide, Joey. Now we have year-to-date. A little bit better. We've got a couple more green bars. Net income for the HOA was $1.5 million. That does not include any of the amenities. That's just operating the community. It was projected to be $1.4 million, so we're doing better by about 11% year-to-date. Golf, we're doing better as well. Costs are not as heavy as we thought they would be. A lot of it's maintenance, a lot of it's equipment that is yet to be delivered. but was budgeted to already be delivered, so that kind of skews the numbers a little bit. But what's interesting now, Terry, our finance director, has come up with a projection for 2023, and that's the second column from the right. And so what that column is showing for golf is us having a subsidy of $1.1 million, about $40,000 less than we thought we were going to have. So we came into the year knowing it was going to be an outlier year with a big loss. It turns out we're not going to lose as much as we thought. The opposite is true on food and beverage. The projection for us now is to lose $500,000 for the year. Projection was $340,000. That is a big variance. We're working on it. We certainly know it. Revenues are down. Costs are up. That's got to change. We're digging into it to see what we can do differently. And things have started being done differently. We're starting to offer new menus. We're starting to try to bring people in with that. We've relocated and created a new facility called the Brook. We're looking at cost of goods sold under all the micro soaps we can find. We're looking for ways to improve this and turn this around. But suffice to say, the wheels have come off F&B. Getting down to the bottom line, green strip, looking to probably do we're right now year-to-date $487,000 positive versus a $149,000 budget projection. Again, that second column from the right, looking to do better than we did projected. We're looking, Terry is saying we're maybe going to come in at $372,000 positive versus a budget at the beginning of the year of $330,000. So certainly coming in a little bit better, but not a lot of celebration to be done even with that slightly better performance projection. Next slide. Food and beverage, here we go. 77% of the food and beverage subsidies coming out of Mountain View. Again, we're digging into trying to figure out, what we can do to change, to bring the people in, reduce the costs. Preserve, if you look at it, it's not doing as well either, but it certainly isn't bleeding the red ink that the Mountain View operation is. Next slide, Joey. Cost. Can we go one slide forward? Here, cost of goods sold. Order was not quite correct. You can see nothing but red bars here for cost of goods sold relative to what we should be doing. August, we had a 42% overall cost of goods sold for food. Beverages is okay, but 42% for food, I understand, I'm not a food and beverage guy, is just unacceptable. The mesquite is 37%. That's kind of above normal, but in the normal range. But the preserved food cost is 50%. It should be something in the 30s, I am told. So that's something that needs to be worked on very diligently and very hard with. Now we can go back one, Joey. That's back one. There. Wages and benefits. Wages and benefits is 50% of the HOA total costs for everything is wages. You can see the wages are, we've got a couple of green bars here, but food and beverage, again, is the culprit here. We're off by 28% food and beverage year to date from where we were last year. So it's wages. You can see a big part of that is the wages. That needs to be looked at as well. And then, there we go, Mountain View. So Matt Cambick was giving us an update on the course. I'm going to give you an update on where we are with our budget. And we did, for those who are new to the community, we did borrow $6 million for this project. You can see our construction budget was about $5.67 million. We had a couple of change orders, and then we had our design. So if you go and look at each one of these, we are on budget right now. I can't say we're going to be on budget at the end because we're not finished. But certainly we're comfortable for where we are with the invoices and the payments that we've made relative to where the budget is. And none of the lines, second from the left, is above where the contracted amount is. So, but again, we still got a lot of work left to do. And then the last one is our reserve expenditures and CIF community, our capital investment fund, anticipated uses. This isn't just purchasing equipment and capital, this is everything. 75% of these two are going to be Work that's already been done, which is the Mountain View paving, which anybody has looked at Mountain View, the second part of that, that's done. We haven't paid the bill yet, but that's been done. That's $838,000, and then debt service on our $6 million construction loan runs about $119,000 a month, so times 3 is about $357,000. So we're looking to anticipate spending, if everything comes to fruition, $1.6 million for the fourth quarter. If you remember, we're at $5.3 million total, so very comfortable in getting these expenses paid off. And Dan, that is it for the financial update. You want me to move right into the reserve?
Sure, if you'd like to. I think that makes sense.
Okay, so this is somewhat new. The reserve fund kind of travels the back pages of budgets and financial statements. My intent is to move that forward and start talking more and more about that, because that's going to become a very important component of our financial projections in the coming quarters and years. So this is more of an introduction, a primer to what is the Replacement Reserve Fund, which is the official name. It's also called the Reserve Fund, or the RRF. The uses of this is basically to keep what we already have in place well maintained, remodeled, replaced, renovated, repaved. That includes roads, and includes common area, golf courses, furnishings, equipment, anything that we currently have right now. Those kinds of uses come out of the reserve fund. Where does the reserve fund get its financing? Well, 28%, it comes from dues mostly. 28% of your dues this year went into the reserve fund, and that number moves up and down. It started when we took transition in 2018 and came in around 13%. Now it's at 28%, it's probably going to grow because we have a lot of costs of maintaining this community in front of us. It also can come from an assessment, whether a one-time assessment that the board can vote on for $300 or something larger than that. The community votes on that. That is up to you to decide whether you want to have the money available to keep this community well maintained. So far, we've only had 2 assessments that anybody around here can remember. One in 2018 to buy the golf courses, and one in 2013, I believe, to remodel the clubhouse at Mountain View. We can also allocate money from the Capital Improvement Fund once a year during the budget process. In 2023, we decided to allocate as a board 50% of the money coming into the Capital Improvement Fund to go into the reserve fund. So, next slide. So how do we determine the costs of things? Well, we have consultants. We have consultants who do the reserve study, who do all the look at all the components of the community, give us an idea of the life of what's left of what's here and how much it's going to cost in the future. And then we have another firm that does our roads. This happens about every 3 years. The last road study was in 2021. The next one is going to be due in 2024. We had Reserve Advisors, which is the name of their consulting company, do 2016, 2019, and 2022. The next reserve study is 2025. The reserve study report from Reserve Advisors, they have a narrative portion, which is 195 pages of descriptions, conditions, and priorities. And they measured 598 items for the useful life and replacement costs. They also give us a funding plan. They look out 30 years and say, how much is it we're going to have to spend per year over the next 30 years to keep this in the condition that it was originally intended. So next slide. So what has Reserve Advisors done for us 2016, 2019, and 2022? So in 2016, they came in and said, and these are expenditures that they gave us for 2024 to 2028, which is obviously now in front of us. They said it would cost $6 million, golf course not included because we didn't own the courses. So you can kind of X that out of your mind. But the 2019 study, which did include our golf courses, said in 2024 to 2028, in their opinion, it would cost us $13.5 million in those 5 years to keep this community well maintained. They came back in 2022 and said, well, now that costs us $20 million. They're going to come back in 2025 and tell us something else. And so, next slide, Joey. So this is what the reserve study, again, this is just our cash balances that I've already discussed. So the next one is, yeah. So here are the reserve studies broken down, the 20.9 million. They said golf would be about $8 million. That does not include the full renovation of the preserve golf course. That gets pushed. Some of it does, but most of it does not. The roads, $5.5 million. It includes a small number for the clubhouse repaving in 2028. Anybody who goes and drives Clubhouse Drive knows that road is not going to make it to 2028 before it gets to have to be repaved. And then property side elements, $2 million, Desert Review Clubhouse, and then on to the Preserve Clubhouse. So this 20.8 million is not even close to being correct. Now we have a team working on updating the numbers to getting us more accurate and more up-to-date information, which is for the next 5 years and also 10 years. There'll be more of that in future meetings. Probably next several meetings we'll have that, to have you more updated costs of what is in front of us for our reserve expenditures. So, in conclusion, our infrastructure is 25 years old and its maintenance costs are rising. I put this in: Mother Nature and Father Time are rapidly deteriorating our roads, our buildings, our pool decks, our property side elements, common area, golf courses, etc. So what we really need to do is start pushing a lot of these projects that were in 2028 and beyond, pushing them into something that's going to be closer to where we are now, because the weather here is deteriorating our assets a lot quicker than what the reserve study, I think, shows. Our 2024 budget, we're intending to have a 5-year forward reserve expenditure, which we usually do. But again, it's the back pages of the budget. We want to push those, we want to talk about them in the front pages now. This all kind of leads to what we need to do in the future. We need an additional investment in our replacement reserve fund to keep it well maintained and in its original intended condition. More to come. That's it, Dan.
Thank you, Campbell, for that report. Very important topic. It's something that is a very serious topic for the board. So we spend a lot of time thinking about this issue of maturing assets, which is essentially what our community has. The good news is we take good care of things. We really do. Things are in good shape that need to be taken care of. So that's all very positive, but looking to the future is very important. So thank you, Campbell, for doing that. Okay, we have a report from Matt Hudson, our Director of Golf, to tell us about golf rates for 2024. So Matt, I'll let it up to you, and I assume there'll potentially be a motion at the end of this.
Great, thanks, Dan. Good morning. Thanks for everybody taking some time out of your day to join us here for the board meeting. We're going to go over proposed golf rates for 2024. So Joey, if you go to the first slide. So let's get right to the nuts and bolts. We'll start with 2023 pricing. A full annual pass holder in 2023 was $4,200. We gave a small discount for the second person in the household at $4,000, and an afternoon annual was at $3,000. 2024 pricing for a full annual, we're proposing $4,400, so a $200 increase. $4,200 for that second person, so another $200 increase on that item as well. And then an afternoon annual at $3,150, which is a $150 increase. All of those increases are approximately 5%. Excuse me. So, with that said, how many annual pass holders are in here right now? Show of hands. Got a few, right? Great. So this is probably what you're looking for. Obviously, we had some interruption this year due to the Mountain View renovation. We had overseed at the preserve for 3 weeks where we had no golf. When I first came here in late 2017 and helped to take over the golf courses in January 1 of 2018, the superintendent and myself, when Paul came on board early in 2018, but one of the things that he and I promised to each other was we're going to do everything we can to make sure that there is always some golf open in Saddlebrook, at least in HOA 2, where we can control. So we've been really, really successful at that. until this year. And this year was just the anomaly because of the renovation at Mountain View. So obviously with Preserve, we had to do our normal maintenance as well. So 3 full weeks where we had no golf in HOA2. And, thankfully it was in the summer, but we have a lot of annual pass holders and a lot of residents that stick around during the summer months. So unfortunately we didn't have those. We did some things to try and help folks with some great rates at local facilities and some, play away with myself and Mike and Richard and whatnot. But again, 3 weeks of no golf in HOA2. So what we are proposing this year is a 2023 renovation loyalty incentive. So what does that mean? So if you are a current 2023 annual pass holder, like Mr. Dan right here, and you renew your annual pass for 2024, we will give you a $200 discount, which takes you back to the $4,200 2023 rate. Same discount for the second person in the household, which takes you again back to the 2023 rate of $4,000, and then a $150 discount for the afternoon annual, which again takes you back to the 2023 rate. So again, current annual pass holders and renewals take advantage of that renovation loyalty incentive due to the Mountain View closure. You will receive access to the Troon Advantage program, which I'll talk a little bit more in detail about in a moment. And then we also still have access to the Invited's club benefits and X-Life programs if anyone's interested in that for our annual pass holders. Next slide, please, Joey. All right. New annual pass holders. Enroll early and receive November and December complimentary of 2023 complimentary included in your 2024 annual pass.
Joey, I think he's one slide ahead of you.
Nope, he's right on. He's spot on.
Oh, is he
He's
right?
good.
Oh,
Yep.
I'm sorry.
Yep, no, that's
Sorry.
no problem.
I was
You're
looking.
okay. So we've run this promotion in the past, and we've had good success with it, and we look forward to continuing that moving into 2024 from 2023. So once again, anyone who is not an annual pass holder in 2023, if you rejoin us, we'd love to have you, and we will include November and December in that rate. But those rates are $4,400 for the first person, $4,200 for the second, and $3,150 for the afternoon annual. Again, the annual passes, new or returning, still have access to the Troon Advantage program and access to Invited's club benefits and X-Life program if you are interested. Next slide, please, Joey. Perfect. All right, so let's talk about your benefits. Benefits will remain the same as 2023, except for the addition of the Troon Advantage program. And again, we'll discuss details on that in a moment. Just to give you a quick rundown, full annual pass holders receive 50 baskets of practice balls, 10% discount on guest fees. The guest must live outside of Saddlebrook. 10% discount on hard goods, 20% discount on soft goods in the golf shop. 2 guest passes per year. Again, the guest must live outside the gates. Range basket pricing will remain constant at $4 per basket if you do happen to run through those 50 baskets and need to reload. And the ability, again, to access the Troon Advantage program and the Invited Club benefits. Afternoon annuals is very similar. We do, the baskets of practice balls are down to 25 on that one, 5% discount on guest fees, 10% discount on in-stock soft goods, 1 guest pass per year. Range basket pricing remains the same at $4, and the ability to access the Troon Advantage program as well. Next, Joey. All right, so let's talk about Troon Advantage. So Troon Advantage is really pretty simple, but it's really a nice benefit for our annual pass holders. It is basically reduced rates at other daily fee or resort properties managed by Troon around the world. That's a pretty big deal. Each full member and up to 3 guests can enjoy great courses and destinations at incredible rates. It's a super easy program. It's all done through the website. You just basically go to troonadvantage.com. You can make your request up to 60 days in advance of the day you'd like to play, and everything's done through email. So super, super simple. There's no geographic restrictions like we had with the X-Life programs, and you can play some really great courses for a very, very nice reduced rate. So really nice advantage to the annual pass holder program. Next slide, please, Joey. As I mentioned before, we still have access to the club benefits and X-Life programs through Invited, which was our previous management company that was absorbed by Troon. Club benefits is complimentary to all the annual pass holders. It's very similar to Troon Advantage, but I've found that the rates weren't quite as good. And then the X-Life Playaway Advantage program, it's a $50 a month charge that you do have to opt into as an annual pass holder, and it affords for a cart fee only fee at most of the facilities in the Invited portfolio. Next, Joey. All right, let's talk about punch cards. Small increase on the punch cards, about 2 to 6%. Basically, you'll see a small increase in the daily fees as well. So those did go up just a little bit to kind of true things up. 50 punch 18 hole card is now $3,000. 25 punch 18 hole card is $1,650. 50 punch 9 hole card is $1,700, and a 9 hole 25 punch card is $875. We do still have the casual golfer program. If you buy into the program for $329, you receive some prepaid rounds, either 5 18-hole rounds or 10 9-hole rounds. And then you also, with the buy-in to the program, you receive a small discount on green fees after 130. And last one, Joey. And seasonal rates. About a 5% increase across the board. The only ones that didn't really change was a little bit in the summer, the Twilight 9 and the Super Twilight. Again, we raised, those rates went up a little bit, about the same amount as the punch card. Beyond that, practice balls, a $1 increase per basket to $6 per basket. Annual golf cart fees will be $800 for a unlimited use of a golf cart. We did get a brand new fleet this year, so we got 78 brand new golf cars. If someone plays 50 rounds of golf, that's $16 per round of golf for a cart. That's well below the competitors in the area. And then our daily cart fees went up just a bit, just a couple of bucks, $20 for 18 and $14 for 9. So again, that just brings us more competitive with the other facilities in the area. So at this time, that is the conclusion to my presentation of the rates, so I'll leave it to the board at this point.
Thank you, Matt. At this point in time, I think what we want to do next is to see if the board would like to make a motion to approve these rates that Matt has described. That will allow us to talk about that motion. Is there someone on the board like to do that?
You're looking at me? I move that we approve the 2024 rates as presented by Matt Hudson.
All right, we have a motion. Anyone second? I'll second. All right, Mark has seconded. Is there any comments from the board directed to Matt Hudson? Nothing? Come on, gotta be something here. I don't know how you're doing it, Matt. Is there,
Dan.
you're holding the prices, you got a loyalty thing going on. The only question I would have for you, from my perspective, is the $69 is fine, but I would think that, how do you think that compares on a brand new golf course at Mountain View to others? Do you think that's a competitive price in the marketplace that we compete in?
It's very low, to be perfectly honest with you, Dan. If you look at facilities like the Views, El Conquistador, Saddlebrook Ranch. Saddlebrook Ranch is a little different story because they're still owned by the developer, and they're not really worried about driving rate too much. But I mean, the other two facilities, they're well into the triple digits, especially during the super busy season. So it's a really nice value, in my opinion. We were at a super good value, and it went up $3, right? So I will tell you that that's a starting point for what we do with our outside play. So during the busy months when a resident is paying $69, then we see rates of $89, $99, $109, $119 with our outside play as well. So it's a really nice value compared to what we're getting for outside play for sure.
Okay, thank
Matt,
you.
I'm sorry, Matt, do you have an idea of what the non-resident plays are? You know, not a punch card, but just coming and walking in the door? Because it says $69 for residents, but what would a non-resident pay?
Well, we started a minimum of 10% above based on the transition agreement. That's what we start at.
And would a credit card fee be above that 10%?
We don't charge a credit card fee, Campbell.
Stay tuned.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
that's,
Stay tuned.
I'm not going to lie to you.
No, don't lie. We don't expect you to lie.
Not doing that.
All right, thank you. Any other board comments? I do know that, that we do offer range balls, which is a big deal. There's a lot of practice that takes place with our annuals and our PM annuals as well, and that's a real good value. We also offer, I believe, two passes for visitors that can be used throughout the day. They're not limited by hour, I believe.
Nope. They
Just
are not.
call up the Pro Shop and you can use your 2 passes for guests or whoever you like at any hour of the day. So that's of great value as well.
Yeah, again, as long as they reside outside of the gates of Saddlebrook.
Yeah.
Yes.
As long as they're non-residents
Correct.
of Saddlebrook.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other questions? Nope. Any homeowner comments? We have 2 microphones in the front. If you'd like to make a comment, ask a question, do whatever, now's the time to do it on this topic. So we're on the motion to approve the golf rates for 2024. If you'd like to make a comment or ask a question about that, come on down, name, unit, lot number, and typically we tell you got 2 minutes, but normally it doesn't take that long. So anybody? Everybody here going
we
to
have
buy
one.
an annual
We have one.
pass.
She's coming down.
Sorry. We do have a comment.
There's a lot of seats in the front row.
Yeah, you have to sit in the front row next time.
Dee Barisha, I am in Unit 17. And just one question. I was wondering how many memberships, full memberships in golf that you had in or have in 2023?
2023, 346, Matt? Is that correct? 343, excuse me.
Do you have any estimates for next year?
Well, based on the preliminary budget that I've created, I believe the number was 386. That's where I got my backwards numbers. Thank you.
One more question.
Yes, ma'am.
I had heard that you will be publicizing public memberships for HOA2 for Mountain View.
Mhm.
When does that start and how much does that cost?
It'll be 10% above these rates. So we've always encouraged outside players to become annual pass holders. We have very few. We have 3, 4 maybe right now, not very many.
But is there an advertising program that's going to go into
I'm sure
effect?
we will have something. We need to speak with the Troon marketing folks, and I still have yet to actually see the completed marketing plan from Troon yet.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. That's kind of why this is on the September meeting agenda, is so we can get this going and Matt can get on with the selling process that takes place in the next 3 months. Any other comments? All right, hearing none, no more board comments. All in favor of the motion to approve the golf rates as presented in this presentation by Matt Hudson, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much, Matt.
Thank you. Everybody have a great day.
Yep, thank you. Next on the agenda is Denise, and she's going to give us an update on the links as well as the new Pro Shop.
Good morning, everyone. I haven't had a chance to really give you an update on where we are with the Mountain View Golf Shop renovation, as well as where we are with the Rincon room. And I just thought I'd take a couple minutes this morning just to give you a brief update. If there's any questions, we can certainly take those at the end, but as a completion is coming close, I will say that it's been very, very successful. Just to kind of give you a background, just so you remember, we approved $33,000 for this renovation. $8,000 went to Two Hemispheres Design. I will tell you, they have been an outstanding partner through this whole thing. One of the primary owners has been here 3 times, and she's been instrumental on getting us price deals, on getting us things that we can afford, and on a very tight budget. I'm very happy with how this phase has gone. $25,000 went to the golf shop and the links introduction, which you'll see when you stop by, that includes cases and the hot dog steamer and things like that. So to break it down, at the Mountain View Golf Shop, it's kind of a new day. I'm hoping that this is a reset because if you remember, this golf shop was in a temporary location for 5 years, Matt? Something like that. It's now in a home. And when you look out the windows of this golf shop, you're going to see this amazing golf shop that you all helped in the renovation of this golf course. The one thing you'll see in the shop itself is updated apparel assortment. And I will say through the focus groups that we really wanted to pay attention to the ladies' assortment. You'll see new items and new vendors that you haven't seen in our golf shops to date, but you might have seen in other locations when you're playing. It's a new home. It has new fixtures, and it has a new logo. And this is a typo on my part, but it also has Troon Merchandise Team support, which they have already been here once, and Matt will get support from them monthly. So we'll continue to see that as we grow with Troon. With the links, it's a grab-and-go structure. And even though Walter said it's a hot dog stand, I got to tell you, I was a little disappointed in that. It's a little more than a hot dog stand, so I really, really hope you come visit it. It's a coffee bar with various coffees and hot drinks. It is a hot dog location that is a steamer for hot dogs and brats. There's a cooler with lots of cold beverages, whether it's sodas, juices, Gatorades, that kind of thing. We have a freezer that you're going to be able to find ice cream treats. There's also going to be snacks. So if you need chips, if you need peanuts, if you need cookies, that kind of thing. And it's also, well, you're going to have a full bar. And we'll have beer, a lot of mixed drinks, and a couple wines to choose from. And in the morning, I just wanted to mention, please stop by and grab yourself a cup of coffee because you'll be able to find donuts and muffins and that kind of thing in the morning, and then grab a cookie in the afternoon when you make the turn. Right now, obviously, we will be open when the course opens on Sunday the 8th for that for the ribbon cutting, but we will be starting a soft opening from 10 to 2 on Thursday and Friday. So that's the 4th and the 5th of October. We will be open for a short time if you'd like to stop by and view any of those things early. If I move on to the Rincon room, Jeanette opened that in July, and that has been wildly successful. What really we're looking for is expanded fitness space, which we've all asked for in surveys. We find a permanent home for spin and table tennis. There's small group fitness groups. TRX is lots of classes are going on there, which opens up options for other classes. What's a byproduct of this? In the Paloma and Mariposa room, now that space is open. Additional small group training, yoga, and personal training classes, which are off the chart right now. And as we mentioned before, there's a new room that's going to be offering professional massages here on campus, which is a great amenity for us here. I think that covers it.
Thank you, Denise. That's good. Great update. Looking forward to having everyone there on October 8th so you too can see these big changes but it is really turning out to be a beautiful space. I wanted to make one comment, and that is we are a very well-trained group, because before this links opportunity came along, it's rare that we didn't put something in our golf cart and maybe a beverage and took off and played golf. And we'd show up on the patio and we'd enjoy a bit of camaraderie and enjoy the drink we brought from our own refrigerator. Well, I'm going to tell you, now that this bar is open and this restaurant, which the Mesquite was the same way, when it was open, unfortunately it closed at 2 in the afternoon, but now that it's open, by law, you can't bring your own food and your own beverage. We are anxious to make sure that occurs. We're going to have signs to make sure people are aware of that. We're not trying to be bad people, but by law, we have to make sure you're aware of that. We have a liquor license for that facility, and to keep that, we need to be making sure that we don't break the law or allow people to use that facility that don't purchase product on site. So that's a kind of a comment. I want to make sure those that listening to this online at some future point heard that as well. Does that jive with you, Denise, in terms of what's going on?
Yeah, I just want to add, support your golf shops. Support your golf shops, please.
There you go. Support golf. Do that. All right. We're going to move on and get an update from Alan. Alan's coming up. I wanted to make a comment because Campbell made the same comment. We're working on food. We really are. Food and beverage, it's got some issues. We're working through it. But he also made the comment that there's a lot of positive stuff going on at Food and Beverage. And a lot of that revolves around Alan and his team creating a sense of excitement, new stuff going on. So I wanted to make sure Alan had a chance to bring some of that to us at this meeting. So thank you, Alan, for doing this.
Thank you. I just wanted to give everyone a quick update on the Brook. We've now been open for a month and 27 days. So I just wanted to go over some quick KPIs and metrics that I've pulled. So this is for the month of August. We sold 271 All-Americans, 202 Junior All-Americans, 164 Spanish omelets, and 136 Classic Cobs. So those are our top 4 movers for the month of August in the Brook.
Can I interrupt? I think out of those All-Americans, Matt Cambick, did you get like 30 of those in that month?
Yep, most likely.
I support your restaurant.
Thank you. Yeah, and then I want to talk about a little bit of the specialty coffees and the smoothies. So for the month of August, we sold 18 lattes, 18 chunky monkeys, 11 blended caramel macchiatos, and 10 iced caramel macchiatos. So those were our top 4 sellers of specialty coffees in the month of August, where we've really tried to push this beverage program for coffees, teas, juices, and smoothies, and we're really trying to push that and grow that program. So if you didn't know, you can get all of this beautiful coffee, all fresh pressed juices, and blended smoothies right at the Brook. You can either get it to there or to go, instead of leaving outside of town for your Starbucks or whatever other place that you go to. So for smoothies, we have our top sellers of the Straw Nana at 20, our Berry Bliss at 19, and our Mango Tango at 14. So for the first month of running the program, I would say that's pretty heavy numbers. We're trying to build the program, so it's going to take a little bit of time to get that moving, but it is moving. Our next slide here is revenue for 2022 versus revenue in 2023. So food revenue in 2022 was $40,551 versus $38,531 in 2023. So food revenue was just down a bit. Liquor revenue was $425 in 2022 versus $523 in 2023. So again, we actually a little bit higher in liquor revenue in 2023. Wine revenue was $535 in 2022 versus $204 in 2023, so a little lower there. And then beer revenue, $1,371 versus $487 in 2023, so we kind of missed the mark there. But you know, this is all within a closed golf shop, or closed golf course. So Mountain View Golf Course was closed during this time. So we're, you know, generating revenue versus pretty much the same with a closed golf course. So I thought that was pretty impressive. You know, no one wanted to talk about it, but you know, we're expected to make you know, all of this money, but we have a closed golf course. So I didn't think it was too bad to be pretty flat with last year with a closed course. The Brook Blend is something that we are getting ready to introduce. We have a very special blend of coffee that is local. It comes in regular decaf or regular espresso. It's fair trade, it's small batch, it's pure without fillers, it's local and family owned, and it's a Saddlebrook HOA2 custom blend. So you can't get this coffee anywhere else than here. So if you haven't already came in and tried the new coffee, I would implore you to, because it's pretty dang good. It has very low acidity, so it has a very low bitterness, and it has a smooth cream-like finish. And it comes out of Chandler. So the really awesome thing about this facility that I went and toured is that the beans go straight from Chandler to here, so it's not sitting in a warehouse for months on end, and that's really where your acidity comes from, is the storage process of the beans. And it's ethically sourced, so I can't say any much more better things about this coffee than to try it. And then I just wanted to give you a commitment and just to, you know, really kind of say what we're about, because we're here to, you know, make the lives of all of our residents better. So we're here to enrich the lives of the community, one dining experience at a time. We're here to deliver quality food, service, and atmosphere consistently. We're here to listen, learn, and adapt to our customer base, to exceed our guest needs and always attempt to go above and beyond. And to make all of our restaurants a meeting space, is a safe and secure location for all residents to enjoy. And we're here to lower the subsidy year after year, hopefully get it to a break-even model one day. So if you haven't came by to try the new Brook, I implore you to. I know I've heard a lot of people say that, you know, it's a Mexican restaurant now, but it's really not a Mexican restaurant. We definitely have a Southwestern flair to items. But we still have, you know, it's literally the top selling item is an All-American. So there is options for everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. I appreciate the update. I know the board does as well, and the enthusiasm from food and beverage to keep this thing going. So
thank you.
Alan has also been very involved in the links. So he's been just as involved in that process, so you'll enjoy that work once the golf course gets open. Next on the agenda is CAM Level 5 recommendations. As you know, we had a town hall about 2 weeks ago, and the Common Area Maintenance Task Force as well as staff made lots of presentations, really great presentations from lots of work that they did. From that, I know Walter had a email, I think, or a way that you could make comments yourself if you weren't able to attend. So he'll talk a little bit about that and tell us what the staff believes is the right next move. So Walter, I'll turn it over to you.
All right, thank you, Dan. What I'd like to do today is to kind of recap the journey we've been on here for the last since 2019, for the board to see where we're at, what we recommend, and then the board can make a decision from that point. All right, so first slide. September 14, we had a meeting with the Common Area Task Force, which was made up of several of the original members. Now, the reason we had this meeting was because as we started level 5 maintenance, we started to get a lot of comments from the residents, and comments that we listened to, we took note of, we stopped what we were doing, and we went back and we said, okay, task force, here's a lot of questions that may have been answered in the past, but let's relook at them, let's re-verify that we're doing the right thing. And so the task force got back on the job, and they put a lot of effort into collecting information and presenting their town hall. So I took that information that they presented into account, and up here is a recap of the 7 recommendations that they gave us at the end of their town hall meeting. So they recommended that the residents be notified prior to the start of level 5 work, and we can do that through the Monday message and through the unit reps. They recommended a trained supervisor review each area prior to beginning work to flag healthy cactus, identify dead and diseased species to be removed, identify trees and bushes to be trimmed, and clarify trees and noxious and invasive species to remove. So we're good with all of that. Crews manually trim identified trees and bushes. We're good with that also. Crews remove noxious and invasive plants in areas, retain all healthy cacti, remove large debris or mulch to size compatible to the purchased mulcher, and use the forest mulcher as much as possible for the sake of efficiency. So we're good with that also. Crews be cross-trained so there is the ability to work on levels simultaneously rather than at separate times. We are working towards that. I can't guarantee that every time level 4 is worked on, level 5 is going to be worked on because these processes take a little bit different timing, but we are working towards that to see if we can match that request. Clear expectations to be set for the crew so they are aware of what maintenance should look like in level 5, and we're good with that. A trained supervisor review area after work is complete and remove flags or whichever method we use to mark vegetation. So we're good with that. So the staff is good and capable of, I think, meeting all of these recommendations from the task force. Okay, so after the meeting, we opened up a link for residents who couldn't be here in person to make comments. So the link was open from the 14th through the 22nd of September to collect comments. So up here on this slide, if you can see it, hopefully it's big enough, I'd like to go over the results of this comment period. So we had a total of 30 comments. And also interesting, I wanted to know how many of those people that are making comments actually came to the briefing or watched it online, because we made it available, recorded it, and we made it available online. So from all the 30 comments, 11 of them were here attending in person, and 19 of them were attending or watched the video online and then made comments. Okay, so I'm gonna run through each one of these comments and make my own comment on it. So the first one, good information and keep up the good work. So 5 people. Okay, so these were all write-in comments. These weren't just check boxes. So I had to read through all these comments and I had to try to put them in different buckets. So again, that's how I came up with these different comments and how many people commented on that. So 5 people said we gave good information. 4 people commented on make detailed maps available for residents. Okay, so we did that. I provided the detailed maps. We hung them on the website now. So the detailed maps for each unit are now on the website. Now let me add a little caveat here. As we go through this, again, this is the first time we're going through this process. I can pretty much guarantee you there will be some adjustments to the map, but right now we're starting with what we have, and throughout the year we'll be making adjustments as needed. Okay, next comment. Give notice to the residents more than unit by unit. Okay, so 2 people commented on this. I hesitate to put that burden on the common area folks to give you more of a notice other than just unit by unit. And why do I hesitate? Because sometimes if I get down to, on this week, I'm going to be on your street and it rains, a piece of equipment breaks, someone calls in with COVID or whatever, and then I get the rash of emails saying, you're supposed to be here today and you weren't here. So I really don't want to put that burden on the crew. I'd rather leave it a little bit more open, just unit by unit. Walk along before work starts and some staff training. 6 people commented with that. Yes, that's part of the process. As I mentioned before, we will go walk the area first with a supervisor and then they will do the work. And we are also working on training for the staff that's working in level 4 and 5. Be more careful during execution and no war on the creosotes. So we are going to be more careful with our execution with using the big machine, and we are not going after the creosote. We will leave some creosote in the areas so you can enjoy the creosote. Do a couple trial areas and evaluate. 4 people mentioned that. And yes, we're going to, as we move along, again, this is a whole learning process. We're going to do areas. We're going to evaluate them. And we're going to see what we need to adjust to make it look more like what the policy is written as. Okay, get started. 1 machine and 2 people are not enough. So 10 people basically said, why haven't you started yet? Let's get going, let's get moving. And several people were concerned with just 1 machine and 2 people are not enough. I agree. Well, the 1 machine I think we can do with, but in next year's budget, we're going to ask for a couple more folks to be on this level 5 team so that we can move along quicker and add in some of the processes that we've added. The other concern with not having enough equipment or people is should we consider contract support. So this was considered when we first started this whole process, actually in January when we were working with the board, explaining how we were going to do this process. That was one of the questions they asked. Well, why don't we contract it out? So we found when we did our calculations that if we contracted out this process, and we looked at a 6-year cycle because we figured, it's gonna, we wanted to pick a kind of a standard time, so a 6-year cycle. If we used a contractor, the 6-year cycle we estimated would cost about $2.4 million. We looked at another option of just using the in-house crew, just labor with no equipment, and that we figured would cost about $1.3 million. And then we looked at the third option, which is the option we took, was to buy the equipment in-house and also to add manpower. At this point, I think we're looking at 4 folks on the team, and we calculated that to be $772,000 over a 6-year period. So from these calculations, we went with the machinery and in-house manpower. So that's how we came up to the process that we're executing today. Okay, next comment. Buying and using large machines is a big mistake. Okay, so 8 people made that comment. Without the machine, it's going to take a long time for us to get through this process. So I think the machine is necessary. We will be more careful with it than we were in June. And we're, again, doing practice areas as we move along to make sure that we can fine-tune that process. One subject that came up during the town hall was home insurance. And 3 people mentioned that that was a big concern of theirs. Is we're starting to see a trend where home insurance companies are not insuring you, or they're charging you a lot more to insure you. So I asked, I went to our insurance broker, and I said, hey, have you seen this trend? What's going on? I'm getting, a lot of this information that companies are not insuring our folks, or else they're raising the rates. And he said, yes, that's right. He said, across the nation, insurance companies are raising their rates. He said also that, in fact, in some areas like California, Florida, Texas, some insurance companies are actually just pulling out because the risk in those states is so high. The other thing that he said is affecting this is these insurance companies are using different methods of evaluation now. They're using a lot of the AI and technical type evaluations, which may not specifically consider what we look like in Saddlebrook. It's just a general AI analysis. So that also is affecting these rates. So insurance is not just because of us not doing level 5 maintenance. It's actually across the nation, and it's not specifically whether we do or do not do level 5. Two folks mentioned that there should be a task force, and I think that's a follow-up process that the board's going to consider, is a task force or a common area committee. Excess grass is a fire hazard. So as we go through and clear out, folks were worried that then the grasses are going to grow and we're going to have a lot of grass. Yeah, I think there is going to be more grass, but again, if we are able to get this process working properly, go through the community every year, then the grasses aren't going to be too overwhelming. Okay, the next one down. Use goats. This was actually mentioned a couple times, actually probably 3 times. And this is a process that some people use. In the Air Force, we use it sometimes on our airfields. We would have goats but I'm not sure that's the solution here, because once we put the goats out, the mountain lions and the bears may come looking for dinner. And hopefully they can tell the difference between a goat and a guy on walking down the street. So I'm not sure but it is a process that they use in some areas. We did not hear from any outside experts. So the committee communicated with many, many experts and many, many different resources. So I think just bringing one expert in probably wasn't necessarily that useful, because the town hall or the common area task force consolidated all of the different comments into their recommendations. Information presented was just a rehash of 2019 information. Well, some of it was, but we had to say it again because in 2019 people forgot what we said. So, any minutes? I don't want to watch the whole presentation. No, there was no minutes taken, so I'm sorry. You'll have to watch the presentation all the way through. Tree removal request still available? Yes, there's still the special request you can do for the common areas. It's going to take us a while to get through with this level 5 process. So that special requests are still available. You can still choose to do some of that work after approved. And finally, I had another comment that kind of had to do with level 4. So board, those are the comments that I received. I think that I had adequate answers for each of those comments. I don't think anything really new came up, just a little bit more clarification. So let me show you, we did do a trial area. So this is what you see here. Here on your left side is an area before we got started. And you can see, at least if you're looking back behind you, you can see there's a tree here, and there's a whole bunch of vegetation in front. There's actually 2 trees there, but you can't hardly see them because there's some cactus and other vegetation in front of it. In the after picture, you can see the 2 trees clearly. We've cleared up down below them. However, we did leave other vegetation. We didn't just strip it all the way down. All right, next slide. Okay, again, on your left, the two pictures on your left are before pictures, and the three pictures on your right are the after picture. So you'll see that we trimmed up the trees, we took down the grasses, we left creosote, we left cactuses. That center picture, it's kind of hard to see, but there is a little yellow flag there. And before we started this trial area, we had the whole crew out there. We had their supervisors out there. We went through, we tagged the cactus that we identified in the town hall as needing to save. So we tagged those so they didn't run those over. We saved the creosote, we saved the cactus, we trimmed the trees up a little bit. And then also, one key point of the process is to come follow up after we cut vegetation and to spray those items we do not want coming back, for example, the desert broom. So you'll see the top right picture is actually of the base of a desert broom that was quite large, but we sprayed that so that it will not grow back. And then the bottom right picture, again, it's hard to see because it's so small, but there are more flags there to make sure the operator does not run over the cactus that we need to save. So that is our first trial after we've considered all of the new input. And I think it was quite successful. There's still some learning that we have to do. We still need more training on identifying the different vegetation. And Ray and I are working on getting that coordinated for the team. So there's still some more training that we really need to get done, but that'll be done quickly. And I'm comfortable that we're ready to move on. So let's go to the next slide. And this is the recommendation I would like to make to the board. Again, considering that we've gone through, a trial area, we've listened and got information from the Common Area Task Force, and we've listened to the residents and the comments that they made. So considering this, the staff recommends we start up the Common Area Level 5 maintenance operations, following more closely the Common Area Maintenance Policy and the recommendations provided by the Common Area Task Force September 14th, 2023 presentation. Now, our staff levels are increasing. We struggled with hiring folks for a while, but it looks like now we're getting people on staff. We are arranging training for the crew in plant identification and reviewing the new procedures with them. We're adding spot spraying. Will be incorporated into the process. The next few areas will be monitored by leadership, so we are comfortable the process and procedures are working. This is a work in progress, so we do expect more adjustments will be needed as we move along. So Dan, my recommendation is we go ahead and start up level 5 maintenance.
All right. Thank you, Walter. Very, very good presentation. Lots of information post our town hall, which was what we were expecting from the staff. So thank you very much for that. It sounds like we've ended up with a recommendation. I'll ask the board if anyone on the board would like to turn that into a motion.
Can I give you an observation first?
Sure.
So on that picture that Walter shared with you, that work was done this past week. And Ray Kuhn took me out with a couple of my common area maintenance consigliere, and we walked that area. The flags were there. A lot of creosote was remaining. Some might say endangering cacti creosote was left remaining. And all the things that the task force had talked about as far as operating procedures. The area had been walked, it had been marked, the flags were still in evidence when we walked that ground. So I want to commend Walter, you and the Common Area Maintenance team, and Ray for your leadership and for you doing things the right way, dotting the i's, crossing the t's. Having said all that, sir, I offer you this motion that we begin to commence level 5 operations immediately.
All right, thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mark seconds. The motion on the table for the board is to, Matt, say that again. You didn't quite read exactly what.
Commence level 5 operations immediately.
All right, there you go. Per the guidelines and suggestions of the staff. That's right, okay. So the motion's on the table. Board comments.
Yeah, I would just like to reiterate, I'm really impressed with the amount of work that task force did. These are people are residents. They're your neighbors that put all this work in. And it was an enormous amount of work. I'm sure that a lot of you were in the meeting that we had a few weeks ago. I think we had more people in this room than I've ever seen since I've lived here. Probably had 250 or 300 people here. And so there was a lot of interest. We did get 30 comments, but we had a lot of interest here. So anyway, I think there's just been a really good high quality of work that's done with an enormous amount of input from experts from all across the state. And I think we've done everything we can from a due diligence standpoint to go ahead and proceed. It's not going to be something cast in stone. We're going to learn as we go through this, but I think we've got the resources. The previous board finally voted to put the resources in place to finally do this, which I think was a great decision. So anyway, that's my comment.
Thanks, Mark. Any other comments from the board? All right. Good job, Walter. You answered every one of their questions that they had. All right, now we'll open it up to homeowners' comments. The motion is on the table. So if you have a comment you'd like to make about this motion, about restarting the common area maintenance level 5 work as recommended by staff, come on down, give us your name, unit, lot number, and tell us what's on your mind.
Sherry Groupie, Lot 73, Unit 45. And I also want to thank the board and the task force. You guys have worked your buns off, and I appreciate that, and I think some really good efforts have been made. I think everybody's in agreement. We want the work done, and it's a good policy. The implementation with the CAT was where we had an issue. It sounds like we've made some strides there, which is fantastic. You did agree that it's a work in progress and more adjustment could be necessary, which is understandable. Hopefully, this indicates that there is acknowledgement that the work removal levels do need to be moderated. They will be looked at, and considering both the short and long-term consequences, and moderation and careful selectivity is key to making this successful for all parties involved. So I do want to thank you and look forward to great things happening.
Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you. My name is Jerry Hack. I'm in Unit 36, Lot 18. The comment I'd like to make is that he did behind my yard, and it is really well done. And I was one of the first. One of the things I'd recommend, though, and this is a problem a lot of people have around here, when they put flags out, they're out there forever. They become permanent flags. In back of mine, they painted a couple stones, one red and one yellow for the 40-foot mark. And they're still painted and they're still looking at me. One other question I have, the tall trees. There hasn't been anybody talk about the tall trees here. And you guys can't do them. I see you hire that out all the time. Are you going to address that in Area 5?
Again, like you said, once we get above ground level where we can't reach it with our tools, we then contract out for a company. So that's something that we would have to see how much work we want to take on and how much we can actually contract out. So I don't have an actual yes or no for you right now.
But you'll still let us hire somebody through the process that you have in place today?
Yes, that's still on the table.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, Terry. Yeah, just a reminder, getting a permit to do work in the common area is available to you. That has not gone away. So until we get around this thing, that's still available to you as homeowners. Sorry.
Hi, Dave Burgess, Unit 46, Lot 5. Two kind of comments. One was the 6-year study on the cost, and for $700,000 they decided to buy a mulcher, and that's $100,000 a year, or just over $25 a lot. Seems like not very much money to have such a big, unwieldy piece of equipment. I really don't understand that. I don't know how it can possibly get in the nooks and crevices. Second comment was in the spring, the board put out a policy statement. It was reiterated in the early summer. Work began. It didn't even come close to following what the board said. I don't know what went wrong. I mean, it was selective pruning, being really careful, and they basically mowed everything down, and the staff said that was their direction. How are we going to not have that happen again? That's really my question.
So, yeah, so the process, again, through looking at the policy and the town hall, the process is a supervisor goes out ahead of time, they mark the items, they talk to the crew, so when the crew comes out, then there's more control over what is being removed. So there is an additional step we're putting in there.
It sounded like the crews were instructed from management to mow everything, and that's...
That was not true. That was not our intent. But again, that's why we're having the training and the supervisor out there to make sure the communication is more clear.
It's just to be aware of, because the crew manager said that was what he was told.
We'll have a discussion with him.
Yeah, well.
All right.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Yes, ma'am.
Again, Sherry Groupie, Unit 45, Lot 73. Just wanted to address the notifications that were discussed. And I am one of the people that feels it is important to have those notifications more detailed. Our units are large. It can take many months to get through them. And people want to know what's going to affect them personally, what's happening behind their home. I can appreciate what Walter said. You don't want to set up expectations, and why weren't you there? So I certainly understand that, and I'm sure you get it. But I think if it's stated in a way, this is where we plan in the next week, weather and conditions, equipment willing. So, and it can be a broad enough, over this month, we're going to be going from units, or this unit at lot 20 to lot 50. In that space, so we have a little bit more clarity, because they are big units, it is a big job, and you can't really see up or down. So I would like to see that addressed. And want to thank you for the maps online. Very good for the unit maps, much appreciated. I think another map that might be helpful is one that shows the overlay where the CAT is planned to be used. I know, Walter, you said it would be 60% of the 124 acres. Obviously, that area has been identified. It might help alleviate a lot of residents' concerns about where is the CAT, which has been the issue, actually being used. Maybe it's not the issue as many think. So I think that would be important to know where those areas are, so that we know those areas will be hand trimmed and we can expect the photos that we've been shown for after. So I would appreciate that. The other item is oversight. The task force, who's done a splendid job, they did recommend residents involved in that oversight committee. I do feel that's a good idea and was a good recommendation and one to consider. Staff is great at their own skills, but residents have important and sometimes differing perspectives of their home and their surroundings. So I think it's a great way to monitor what we're doing and find the best way to move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Sherry. Thanks for the comments.
Jim Lanford, Lot 54, Lot 55, Unit 44A. I'm confused about the creosote, and I'll ask Walter. I thought for some reason that was considered one of the more dangerous plants and one of the more flammable plants, but did I hear somebody say we're going to protect that plant?
Yes, I believe in the briefing, I believe that's actually a native plant. I mean, you see Eileen shaking her head saying no, but
Yes.
Right. So yeah, we are balancing that. I mean, we've got to keep some of that creosote where it's not damaging or another plant, but we're not taking all of it out either.
Well, they do damage other plants, I believe, and then I'm concerned about the flammability. Now, you said you talked to your insurance agent. Who was he with? What Allstate, State Farm?
No, so our broker.
Because if they haven't, I can trout a few people down here that have lost their insurance because their insurance agent said that the inspector came out and said there was too much fire hazard in the common area. I can get those people down here and march them in here all day long. So I disagree with that comment, but research is over. It's time to move on. We can keep researching and keep doing stuff till the cows come home, and that's just kicking the can down the road. It's time to move on, get this done, and go with it. And the people that want more research or don't want it to happen, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Jim.
Thanks, Jim.
All right. Any other comments?
Yeah. Kate Tornay, Unit 35, Lot 77. I just want to ask you what you said at the very beginning because I want to do it. You said that some staff members want to use the fitness center. But what did you tell?
That, Kay.
I don't care if they do, by the way. No, I just want to know how do you want to get our comments?
Okay, I'll get to that. When we adjourn, we'll get to that. But thank you. We'll get back to you. This is really about this CAM motion right now. But no, don't worry about it. We'll get back to it. But that's a good question. Any other comments from the audience relative to the motion in front of the board? Thank you all for the comments that you did make and for the other comments prior to this. There's been no question this has been a process where I think the board has been very interested in listening to homeowners and coming to a solution. And as Jim mentioned at the end, maybe if we vote on it, getting on with it. So, any other comments from the board? You have a motion in front of you that suggests we take the recommendations on CAM Level 5 and move forward with what Walter has told us in this presentation. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Walter.
Good job, Walter.
Very good job, Walter. Okay, last couple of things before we adjourn. We have an open budget meeting Friday, September 29. What time is that?
9 o'clock in the Sonoran room.
9 o'clock in the Sonoran room. So it's really a culmination of a lot of work. So if you're interested in the budget, come to that. Grand opening of Mountain View Golf Course, October 8 at 2 p.m. So we'd love to see you at the Mountain View Pro Shop.
No, golf shop.
Golf Shop, sorry. Mountain View Golf Shop.
You gotta get the names right, Dan, because I get too confused.
Yes, ma'am, I will,
Thank you.
I promise. I'll never make that mistake again in my entire adult life.
I'm easily confused.
Any other comments from the board? All right, good. I'm going to adjourn this meeting. Thank you for coming. Now we'll open up the floor for comments, but I'll take your, I won't even make you stand up.
Don't head, Kay. We want to know about the employees using the fitness center.
Yeah, if you want to make an email to me or Mark at our email address, which you'll find online, you can do that about the employees' use of our fitness facilities. And that's true for anybody. But right now, the board is hearing that recommendation from staff, and just want to make sure everybody knows that that's a possibility. So anyway, there you go. Anybody else want to make a comment? Come on down. You have 2 minutes, by the way, and the subject matter is yours.
I won't take that. Chuck Kelsey, Unit 29, Lot 69. Question for Matt. You talked about Mountain View back 9 ready to open. What's the probability, in your opinion, that the front 9 will be open in 24 working days from now? 34 calendar days. 0 to 100.
Yes.
That's not what my question,
Hey, look.
Mr. President.
Okay, Chuck, great question. Matt Cambick controls absolutely nothing in this process. And the truth is, I can't give you a percentage on where we'll be. So you get some idea. Right now, we are fighting hard to get the back 9 ready for play on the 9th of October. And so that was conveyed by our president to the owner of the company just last night, and I went out and met with him personally this morning. Our focus and our orientation is on getting everything buttoned up so we have a good experience on 9 October for the 9 holes that we're going to have open. It's going to be a challenge to get to where you want us to get to by the end of October.
It's not only me, it's all the snowbirds that are going to be flying back. And the expectation that has been published and put in front of the golfing community that we will have 36 holes of golf November 1. That is still the expectation.
Well, Chuck, that's our expectation as well, but I just, right now, we're in the middle of it. We're in the middle of it. We know November 1, the preserve will be open. We know that for sure. We know there will be 9 holes at Mountain View, maybe more. We're hoping to open them up actually as we get them. Don't know if that'll take place, but we're hoping to open them up as we get them available. So November 1, you know, it's hard.
But that sheds some light on what may happen.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely. We're not
Thank you.
trying to, truly, if we could give you a guarantee, I'd just love to do it. It's just, we're working, Matt is there every day, we're working it. We're really working. But thank you for the question.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Chuck.
Get over it. You're going to have a brand new course by Christmas.
I'm Steve Lindquist, Unit 45, Lot 98 in the Preserve. A couple of comments. One related to food and beverage. It looks like we're going the wrong direction. I see they're forecasting $500,000 this year in loss in food and beverage. I've been here for 7 years, and over 7 years, it's continuing to get worse, not better. We used to be at 250, 300. Now we're going to be at 500. There's a reason why this is happening. The restaurants are not supplying what the residents want. You don't have enough residents using the restaurants. It's a limited number of people. And the only way that's going to change is to change what we're doing. That means, and I've had conversations with Alan, food and beverage man on this. One of them is breakfast. We used to go every week, a couple times a week, to the Mesquite and have breakfast until they dropped hash browns He says his All-American is the #1 seller. He brought back what he calls hash browns. I get those at McDonald's. They're a little frozen patty, and they put them in a deep fryer, and you get a bucket of grease with every one that you eat. I hadn't tried them, but I thought, oh, let's go there this morning before I come and see how it is. They're not hash browns. I can buy those at McDonald's. People want real food here. They want a well-prepared menu. They want good service. My wife ordered the same thing this morning with a sausage. The sausage came undercooked, basically raw. She couldn't eat it. They took it off the price of the bill for her, so she ate the rest of the breakfast. I gotta say, everything else was pretty good. The bacon was good, the eggs were good. We're getting 2 little teeny pieces of bread, which is basically 1 slice of bread sliced in half for toast. I think that's a little shortchanged. But certainly, every good restaurant that I know that is busy at breakfast time, they serve hash browns. And it's no surprise that the American is the #1 seller here, because that's what people want to order. But maybe you'd have more people coming and more people ordering it if you were delivering a reasonably good product.
Thanks, Steve.
Okay?
I think you're up. You can go. You can come back. You can go over and stand and come back. But all right.
Andrea Mulberg, Unit 42, Lot 72. I hope that you will provide the employees use of our gyms. I think it would be a wonderful way to create a feeling of community and an incentive to have them want to work here. So I hope that you will. Many corporations do that, and I commend that idea. And my second question is, where are we with the dogs on the courses? Everyone's asking me, so I am on their behalf and my own asking, how far are we? Thanks to the golf committee for saying yes. We're very excited about that news. Looking for what's the update and when will the decision be made?
Cool. I'm glad you actually brought that up, Andrea. The Rules and Regs group is getting close to making a recommendation. We heard actually a little bit of an update from them this morning. So they'll be making that recommendation, and at the October board meeting, I believe, they'll be making a recommendation to us as to what they believe in terms of changing the rule, keeping the rule, whatever. But as you said, I think you were at their recent meeting, which is good. I think most of the stakeholders they have inquired with were reasonably positive about that question. So at the board meeting in October, we will hear that recommendation. It is likely, if in fact it is a recommendation to change the rule, that we will then call on comment period after that. We do that for all rules and regulation changes. So we'll ask homeowners what they think, and potentially, if that timeline holds, we might talk about this in November as a final motion. That's where this could go. The only caveat I will tell you about that, November has Thanksgiving. So our meeting in November is early. I think it's the 18th, maybe, something like that. It's like the middle of the month instead of the end of the month, which would cause comment period to be reduced in time. I don't know that that's a big deal, so we'll deal with that. If in fact we get a recommendation from Rules and Regs to say, hey, we think the rules should be changed, we think you need to ask homeowners what they think, then we'll deal with that comment period and potentially have this on the agenda in November.
Thank you.
Yep, does that make sense? Okay, cool. Thanks for hanging in there.
Hi, I'm Mike Brenny, Unit 36, Lot 16. Food and beverage, let's talk about that for a second. I think our expectations are a little high. I don't know of a HOA that has a food and beverage department that actually makes money. It's an amenity, okay? It's going to cost us some money, but we have to improve, let's face it. We're looking at changing menus, marketing. Alan's doing a great job at trying to address the needs of all of us, but to really address the issue, there's a couple of drastic things that we probably need to think about doing. The first is a food and beverage minimum. Now, some people may say that is drastically against this. I don't want to be told what to do. If you don't have the right product, I'm not coming. However, let's be realistic. If we give at least a base number and ask people to support it, now, it's not going to take food and beverage off the hook, Walter. It's going to say, you better give me a good product. You think if you have complaints now, wait till you have a food and beverage minimum, and people have to come. But it's two-way street. You produce, we'll support. But let's force that to come on, and let's make that effort and do a food and beverage minimum. I think it's something that we really need to think about. And the other thing is to do away with credit card fees. If people insist on using their own credit card, there needs to be an upcharge, or you can use your member card. That's a big number if I remember correctly. So please, those are two items other than improving the product and maybe doing the marketing that we're doing that could really help address some of the shortfall we're seeing.
I'll address the credit card fees. We are looking very seriously at doing exactly that, but TEI put us back a whole year. There are legal issues with that, such as advance notification, putting table tents, putting placards up. There's all sorts of things. There's legal issues. We're working on it, though.
I understand.
But we are working on it.
Okay. All right, that's all I had to say.
Mike, thank you very much. Good comments. Yes, ma'am.
Terry Anderson, Unit 36, Lot 129. I want to address the Mountain View Restaurant as well because I care deeply about it. What I heard in the presentation, what I took the most was, hopefully we'll be profitable one day. In business, we have action plans to grow business. And I didn't hear anything about an action plan. And training, I heard training, but I was there at the restaurant once for breakfast, once for lunch within the last week. I had no idea we had specialty coffees. I wasn't being sold, I wasn't being asked. So I think there needs to be a training and an action plan for growth that we can get behind and support. Thank you.
Thanks, Terry. Good comment. We'll have Alan, I'm sure, will take that into consideration because we do need to be proactive in terms of this Brook coffee and other beverages. Thank you.
Hi, Jerry Hack, Unit 36, Lot 18. Last night I was at the wine dinner by Alan. It was fabulous, absolutely fabulous. But the people were talking about a gratuity program that is set up for using your HOA card instead of a credit card. That's the first I heard of that. Is there anything published on that?
Say that again. I wasn't understanding. Jerry wasn't
They
understanding the
claimed
question.
that there was a gratuity program where if you used your card, you got 5% back, and you also got $5 on your birthday.
I've never heard anything like that.
Well, they were talking about it, and they actually claimed they got the $5 birthday gift.
Okay, well,
Yeah, there's a
that's news to
program
me. That's
going
news to
on.
me.
So this is something marketing is building, and that's something that's going to come along with the app when the app goes out. So yeah, so there's going to be a kind of like a loyalty program is
That's
what it
what
is.
they said,
Yeah,
yeah.
so there is going to be a loyalty program, and they're trying to build that up and get that ready for at the same time when we launch the app.
Well, they claim they're already getting it.
I think it may already be automatic.
I spent
there,
$400
but
last night. I could have used it.
I think it's pretty much automatic as long as you're using your card, but they haven't put out all that information, got all the details together
Okay.
yet.
So I assume that'll come out soon?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. They're kind of buried with this North Star conversion right now, but thank you.
I'm back. Steve Lindquist, Unit, 45, Lot 98. Just a couple more questions in response to two gentlemen ago about the credit card fees, minimum charges. Credit card fees, my only comment would be, I can go to any restaurant in town here. You have to be competitive. If you're charging credit card fees, that's just an add-on charge to your bill. And it makes you non-competitive. So I would be definitely say that's not the thing to do. Minimum charge, I've thought about that many times myself, but I agree with the last gentleman. It's not necessarily a bad thing. However, you've got to have some reasonable expectations if you're going to continue to go to a restaurant. I'm not going to keep going to a restaurant if they serve me terrible food or bad service or don't have products that I'd like to order. I'm not going to go there. So you may force me to go there, and I won't like that, but I don't know about that. There's got to be some expectation that's met in order to do that. That's all I'll say on that. One questions I have regarding golf and our overall budget. I noted on one of the slides that they were showing a breakdown of what our reserves were being spent on this latest course. And there was something like $2 million. There was one item in there that was a very large number that was just for the irrigation part of the golf course. The question is, isn't that money, or wouldn't that money normally be coming out of the reserve replacement fund versus a loan that we got at a bank? Wouldn't we have money put aside to replace sprinkler systems in a golf course?
Not sure I follow you, but completely, but as far as the irrigation, it has been replaced.
No, I know that. But you had a line item on there.
Well, I'm not sure which slide you're referring to.
Well, I don't know. It was one of your slides you put up. It showed a breakdown of what our almost $6 million had been spent on.
So you're talking about the budget for the renovation.
Yeah. Right. And one of the big items was irrigation. My question is, it was my understanding that things like irrigation were built into our reserve fund, and that money should have or would be coming out.
Well, that was a projection. It was not ever in the fund. It was just a projection, a 5-year projection of what the costs would be for irrigation of the renovation.
Okay, but do we not put aside money for replacing irrigation systems every 20 years?
Yes, we do.
Yes, the answer to your question is yes.
Okay.
The reserves were not funded when we bought the golf courses to replace, to do this.
Okay.
So we're playing catch-up.
Okay, that makes sense. All righty. The only last comment I have, and I know I'm out of time, but just real quick about it. I have a big concern over, we spend $6 million approximately. You took a loan, as I understand it, for $6 million, pay back in 5 years or something like that?
That's right.
Okay, to do this golf course. I understand following shortly beyond this, we're going to go after the preserve. And I can only assume that if it was $6 million in Mountain View, knowing the preserve course, that may well be more expensive than the $6 million we spent on Mountain View. Some amount, I don't know. So we're talking about an expenditure here of a minimum of, let's say it's the same, $12 million, could be maybe 15, 18. I don't know what the real cost will be. That's a huge number for this community to absorb. I don't see the money in any budgets. You made a comment down here about additional investments required into the RRF. There's no doubt there'll be a huge additional requestment into it. So I'm concerned about how we're going to do that and really realistically pay
Steve,
for it.
All good questions. I tell you what, there are specifics associated to that question. The budget meeting, I think, on Friday may address the exact specifics. We're waiting on some more information on the preserve renovation cost. Those will be made available. It's not wild numbers, so hold back till you get a real number to be able to talk to that issue. But certainly it's more significant than Mountain View.
I'm going to go to the budget.
Question.
I'm going to go to the budget meeting on Friday.
That's great.
So, okay.
That's good. Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Any other comments? Anybody want lunch? Yes. You buying? Yeah. I'm buying at the Brook. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not buying at the Brook. Okay, this meeting's adjourned. Thank you all very much.